Hey everybody, my name is Ashley Collins and I'm a YA generalist at the main library downtown. And today we're going to be starting a series of book talks called I Read a Roadmap. This series is kind of created for everyone who wants to travel but either doesn't feel safe to right now or it's just not what you expect. So we're going to travel through the country on kind of a virtual road trip. We're going to talk about a book from every state, and that's going to be split into 5 different videos with different regions. All of these are YA books, and all of these are available in our physical catalog, and I'll let you know which ones you can also get digitally. And with that being said, today we're going to start in the West with 8 book recommendations that we're going to talk about, and hopefully you can find either a book you're really interested in reading or a state you haven't been to that you might want to explore through literature. That being said, let's get started on our road trip. So we're going to start out at the top of the West today, and that is going to start in Alaska with Not If I Saved You First by Ally Carter. So this book follows Maddie, who is the daughter of a Secret Service agent and best friends with the president's son, Logan. And so one day when they're kids, they actually get kidnapped. And though they come out fine, Maddie's father is really scarred by this incident, and he quits his job and whisks Maddie away to the Alaskan wilderness to safety and solitude. When Maddie gets there, she tries to write Logan letters, but he ignores them, and she really never hears from him again, leaving her to wonder what exactly their friendship was. Until a few years later, when Logan is, kind of shows up on her doorstep, thanks to the Secret Service agents, and left there with Maddie. As the two of them start to confront the past and their feelings, unfortunately, another kidnapper arrives to take Logan away, but they leave Maddie behind, and Maddie decides to take things into her own hands to save Logan and to get the answers she's been waiting to hear for years. This is one of our SC Junior Book Award nominees for 2020, so this is a great one to pick up, and also it's just a really fun thriller with a little bit of romance if you're looking for something just like that. So next up, we're going to travel to Gold Rush era California, back in time a little bit, with Walk on Earth, a Stranger by Rae Carson. So this is a historical fantasy that follows a young girl named Lee who has a secret magic power. She can sense gold in the earth. She uses this power mostly for good and uses it to mine the gold as, a way to buy provisions for her family that keep them alive during cold winters. But unfortunately for Lee, this is a power people would kill for. And one day her family is murdered and she's left with the destruction of everything she ever loved. So she decides to go to California, where the gold rush is beginning to kick up, and she feels like it might be somewhere she can be safe and be herself. But the journey there is long and difficult, and she finds herself faced with a lot of trouble and a lot of other difficulties, and finds herself being chased on the way. This is a completed series that is available on Overdrive, and you can read all of them if you're really interested and want to see Gold Rush California in kind of a new magical light. Next up is what is my favorite book in this stack for the West, and that is going to be Nemesis by Brendan Reichs, which takes place in Idaho. This is a really cool dystopian science fiction about 2 teens living on opposite sides of a valley who are having more similar problems than they could have imagined. On one side of the valley, Min dies every 2 years on her birthday. She's murdered in cold blood by a man she doesn't know, until the next morning she wakes up in a clearing, completely unharmed and with no signs of a crime committed, but Min knows that she has been murdered and that this is still a true fact somehow. On the other side of the valley, Noah is plagued with nightmares of death and murder, but he hides them just hoping he can be a normal kid. Unfortunately, both their lives are further threatened when an asteroid starts to hurtle towards the Earth and is directly going to hit over their town, leading them to a kind of doomsday scenario. The 2 unlikely friends start to discover that there is more similarities in their life than they thought, and as they race to uncover the truth before the world ends, they realize that the conspiracy they discover could be more dangerous than the asteroid coming to end life as they know it. This one is just such a page-turner. I really enjoy it. It's very good and very surprising, so if you're looking for something that's fresh and kind of takes you directions you didn't expect, definitely pick up Nemesis. This is also a completed series on Overdrive, so you can go through all of them digitally or put them all on hold from the library system. Next up, we're going to go to Montana with a psychological thriller called The Window by Amelia Brunskill. So the window follows two twin sisters, Anna and Jess is convinced that Anna tells her everything. Until one day, Anna falls to her death trying to break out of her bedroom window. Everyone thinks Anna's death is an accident, but Jess isn't so convinced. Because who was Anna going to meet? Where was she going and why? Jess knows that there's more to the story, so she starts to dig through secrets and uncovers some truths. But unfortunately for Jess, some of those truths are things that people would kill to keep hidden. This is a great psychological thriller, like I said, totally good for those of you that are looking for a good page turner and also who have that travel bug. You can pretend like you're on the plane even, maybe reading this thriller as you might go to Montana or somewhere else that you'd like to travel to. Next up, we're going to take a fun trip to Vegas through books, and that is going to be Overturned by Lamar Giles, which of course takes place in Nevada. So in Overturned, we meet Nikki, who is infamous not only because her dad is wrongfully accused of murdering his best friend and serving time in prison, but also because she's an illegal gambler who's been trying to stock away money to leave town after she graduates high school. But when surprising new evidence comes out of nowhere and her father is released from prison, Nikki's life and plans get flipped upside down. Her father is suddenly obsessed with finding out who framed him, and Nikki can't help but be drawn into his quest for the truth as they hunt through the past and threaten Nikki's present. But unfortunately for Nikki, she finds herself not just gambling for her freedom, but her life, in the biggest gamble she's ever done yet. This one's a really good take on the city of sin, takes it a bit literally with the mystery and the murder and the threat of life. Definitely something fun to pick up, hopefully letting you travel and also just kind of have a good mystery in your hands. So next up is something that's friendliest for our middle grade readers, but perfect for anyone of all ages, and that is Roller Girl by Victoria Jameson, a graphic novel that takes place in Oregon. This novel really tells about kind of growing into yourself as you go into a new chapter of your life, in this case into middle school, and talks about 12-year-old Astrid, who is best friends with Nicole and who the two of them have always done everything together. So when Astrid signs herself up for roller derby camp, she's so sure that Nicole is going to join her until Nicole reveals she has a new best friend and they're going to dance camp, leaving Astrid to what probably is going to be the toughest summer of her life. But when Astrid gets there, she starts to discover who she really is outside of that friendship and kind of discovers how being this cool, tough roller skater girl can help her navigate the challenges of growing up and middle school. This is a great one. The art in this is really friendly, accessible, and super gorgeous, so definitely recommend picking this up as well if you're looking for something graphic to let you travel a little bit this summer. Next up is a music-based recommendation, and that is 5 Flavors of Dumb by Anthony John, which takes place in Wyoming. So in this book, we meet Piper, and Piper has a challenge. She has 1 month to get the rock band Dumb a paying gig. If she does that, she's going to get a manager position for the band, and she gets her slice of the profits. But the only problem is, Dumb is kind of a hard band to market. Not just because it's filled with an egocentric rock star, a talentless, cutie, a silent rocker, and an angry girl, and one of Piper's crushes, but also because Piper is deaf, and she doesn't really hear or understand Dumb's music. Piper will discover self-confidence, her identity, and a little bit of romance, and realize what it really means to be a flavor of Dumb as she goes on this journey. This is such a great book, and also there's just not quite enough deaf representation in YA literature, so if you're looking to kind of expose yourself to what someone else's life would be like, something that you haven't experienced, this is a perfect book for that, and also kind of makes, a little more interesting journey, I think, on your virtual road trip. And last but not least is another thriller taking place in the state of Washington, and that is Black Ice by Becca Fitzpatrick. This is another thriller, like I said, and it's just a great story. It keeps you flipping pages. So this story follows Britt, who is an avid hiker and is totally ready to hike a new place, the Teton Range, until her ex-boyfriend Calvin decides that he wants to join along. Things are already complicated enough going on a new hike, but Britt is also dealing with mixed feelings on her ex, and she's not sure how she feels. Unfortunately, while she's out there, a blizzard hits, and she's forced to take shelter with 2 male strangers. They seem nice enough at first, until they take Britt hostage and demand that she show them their way off the mountain. See, the thing about these strangers is they're fugitives on the run, and they need to get out quick. But as Britt helps guide them off the mountain, she discovers disturbing evidence of murders and knows that she can't solve the murders without threatening her own life. She's trying to hang in to wait for Calvin to find her, but one of her captors, Mason, makes things complicated by the fact that he's kinder to her than he should be as a captor. It makes her wonder if he's an ally or an enemy she needs to get away from. She's got to stay alive long enough to figure it out. This is just a great read, great thriller. It takes the Washington wilderness and the snow into a whole new level with high stakes. Totally recommend this one as well if you're looking to travel to that state right now, but you can't. And those are my first 8 books from I Read a Roadmap. Hopefully I will see you for the next video where we're going to be dealing with the Southwest and some other fun recommendations. But in the meantime, everyone stay safe. Get your holds in and come visit us if you'd like to read anything. And I'll see you next time. Bye!